Hello everybody, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a monster review. And carrying on with our focus on devils, today we have a archdevil for you. And this is once again from the original monster manual for use with Dungeons & Dragons and Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, especially early Dungeons & Dragons and 1E. Which is not the earliest version, but I don't want to get into that discussion. In any case, we're talking about BAALZEBUL, the Archdevil, the Lord of the Flies, the second highest ranked Archdevil in the whole pantheon of devils that's within the Monster Manual. Now, once again, I have to caution people here, we are not talking about religion. This is BAALZEBUL as it appears in the Monster Manual. That's it. That's all. Nothing more. Nothing less. That's all. Now, BAALZEBUL is a very, very nasty critter. It is, of course, a singular creature. Super, super intelligent. It has a -5 armor class, 166 hit points. And by the measurements of the early stages of the game, this was one of the most powerful things that you saw inside the Monster Manual, at least. Until, of course, you go up one more devil, but we'll cover that in a separate review. Now, BAALZEBUL, like I said, is a super powerful creature. It has 85% magic resistance. Okay, it only has one physical attack, and that's for 2 to 12, and you also have to make a save versus poison, of course. It's a nasty critter. This is also one where there's not very much of a description, a physical description, and you're really going more by the picture that's shown, which clearly is vibing off of the whole Lord of the Flies thing. But that's the picture that was available, and that's what we had to go with when we were playing the game in the earliest days. This creature is, of course, a devil, and it has a bunch of standardized powers that all devils have, and I'll tag the video that I did about that part at the end of this one if you need to refresh yourself on that side. But of course, it has some singular powers that it alone can perform. And those powers are magical powers that it can use, per turn or per round as appropriate for the spell type power that it has. Now, in terms of where it actually resides, it resides in the 6th and 7th planes of hell, and which are called Malbolge and Maladomini. And those are the two, the planes are very similar. They're made up of a lot of black rock and sulfuric vapors and flames jutting from the ground and this kind of stuff. But he resides on the 7th plane, which is Maladomini, which is also has all of that nifty background topography, but it's also filled with bunches of castles, and that's where his castle is specifically. The other castles are used by like the Malabranche and other creatures of similar ilk. The bottom line is that all of the powers that it has are pretty much typical for devils, and archdevils tend to have a lot of fire magic, pyrotechnics, walls of fire, this kind of stuff. The BAALZEBUL has a extended list of that, along with a bunch of what I consider to be practical magic. Detect invisibility, things that are useful on a immediate basis. And of course, it's a very lengthy list, and so I would encourage you to check within the actual monster manual itself. But it also includes things like it has, I think, unholy word, it has a symbol of pain and a symbol of something else. It's nasty. I mean, this one is amped up. We've already talked about Geryon and Dispater. This is the next one up the line. And BAALZEBUL is, well, once again, is considered within the pantheon to be the second strongest archdevil. Now, of course, like every other devil, it can also gate in help. And in his particular case, or its particular case, not really sure, the bottom line is that it's able to bring forth always 1 to 4 horned devils or Malabranch. And that's a little different than some of the other devils. The other ones have a high percentage chance, but there's usually a chance for them to flub it. That's not the case with BAALZEBUL. Now, interestingly enough, with all these powers, the entry for BAALZEBUL is rather short. I think that's appropriate. This thing is so very, very powerful that it gives the Dungeon Master a great deal of freedom as to how they want to employ this, because it's going to be really, really tough to get past this critter. Plain and simple. Now, as we've talked about with some of the other devils, and particularly the archdevils, have any of us Hornhelms ever run across this? Nope, never. Sure hope we never do. Plain and simple. Gaming world, though, you go out and talk to the dungeon masters and the players within the Hornhelm community and say, hey, what's your experience with this guy, with BAALZEBUL? Pure nastiness. Universal from the dungeon masters was a 9 to a 9.5. Players, 9 to 10. This is not a critter you want to run into. If it is being nice to you, trust me, it is the iron fist within the velvet glove. It has tons of power. It has tons of ability. It can do things like grant wishes for you and things like this, but it can suck you into its evil orbit and carry you away to bad places. So beware. You've been warned. Stay away from this critter. Amazing, though. Very strong. Do be careful if you're making any kind of an adventure where you know you're going to be intersecting with any of the planes of hell. Make sure your will is in order, that you don't carry with any excess wealth. You know what I'm saying. So that, my friends, is BAALZEBUL, Lord of the Flies, Archdevil, and all around nasty. Hope you found today's presentation to be interesting, amusing, educational, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, well, please be so kind as to leave us a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. But by all means, come back and see us again real soon. We thank you for your kind support. Take care, everyone, and remember, dwarves rock!